Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's Monday, June 17th, 2024. Home safely from my trip. See my father and mother, 92 and 90. Hung out with the dad for Father's Day. Had him whining, complaining about Trump. And telling me he never told me that Ronald Reagan was the greatest president of all time, even though he did once tell me that. What can you do? You just put your best foot forward. Couple of things. Number one, we're going to do a lot of the markets in just a few minutes, but there are a few things I do want to cover. I think of big-time import, one on the elections, two on the meme stock thing that we hope you listen to. But I must start out with one of my big complaints. So I'm on the airplane yesterday, coming home, and I'm sitting down and somebody shows up and he's in the middle seat and the wife is, I guess it's the wife in the window. And I was there first. He immediately sits down, and if I tell you his forearm was bigger than somebody's quads, he just puts it down and covers everything to the point where I had to move over into my seat just because this guy was huge and he didn't care and he knew it, and I'm not going to say anything, but wow, is that rude or what? This guy's forearm took the whole armrest plus 3 or 4 inches. Boy, was I pissed. But what are you going to do? He was twice my size. I didn't want to be part of those videos that they put out on Whatchamadoogie when you get into a fight with somebody. And believe me, I was ready. But there's a point in time where what do we tell you? Tic-tac-toe. If you can't win, why play the game? Next. I told you last week, I don't know how, but the Biden, Kamala Harris campaign, my email got my email address with the name of Dan, so I get all their emails, and for 3 or 4 weeks they have been sending me, hey, do you want to win a trip, come out to California and meet George Clooney and Julia Roberts and Jimmy Kimmel, and come on and whatever. All you got to do is give $25 and we'll enter you into the sweepstakes. Come on, Dan, you got to do it. And I have to tell you, I got watching a little bit of it. They didn't show the whole thing, but Jimmy Kimmel, who, by the way, I don't know if you know, he used to be on this thing called The Man Show. I think it was with Adam Carolla. That was a great show. Anyway, I haven't watched late night TV in forever. Nothing against them, but I just haven't watched it in forever. I was a big Johnny Carson person. Anyway, so they're interviewing him, and the big thing now is the right's coming out blasting Biden because Obama had to grab him and pull him aside at the end, and it didn't look good, but whatever. And I keep saying, I don't care what age this guy is. I don't care if he's 200 years old. I don't care any of that. What I care about is Jimmy Kimmel interviewed him, and it might as well have been, so President Biden, what kind of deodorant do you use? So what do you have for breakfast? Oh, okay. And what do you do when you're on vacation with your wife? And what's your favorite TV show? And do you ever get pedicures? That's what it was like. And all I'm thinking to myself, you got the right complaining about Obama had to grab him, pull him aside. And I'm thinking to myself, Jimmy Kimmel, Julia Roberts, these people are worth, what, 200-300 million? More than that? And they're trying to tell us how we're supposed to feel? Oh, Joe, do you know I was in New York City this weekend, and this CVS store right at the apartment, even the M&Ms are locked up. And now they have 2 security people there, a woman and a man. And I got into a conversation with the woman. And I asked, how do you handle it? Well, we're told that we have to let them. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you stay open? Well, you can see what we got here. They're locked up. I go, can't they come here with an axe and start just knocking things out? He goes, oh, we had that a couple of times. And I asked, is this really the whole city? We'll go into the other drugstores. The same thing's going on. And I said, are they ever arrested? No. So in other words, somebody can come in and steal and do it again and again and again. Yeah. And then I'm thinking to myself, I haven't heard the president talk about this, and it's going on in many cities. And then I'm thinking to myself did you read the latest? Another undocumented person came in who was arrested for murder in their own country and still got in here and murdered a woman that she was jogging. I gather there was rape too. And I didn't hear Jimmy Kimmel ask Joe Biden about that, about the border that has just been destroyed. And in case you don't know, I'm a Fox News business contributor. In case you don't know, I know some of the people that do the reporting from the border. In case you don't know, I had a 1-hour conversation with Griff Jenkins in the green room at Fox a few months ago, and he said it's even worse than what you see. And Joe Biden allowed this, changed all the rules of Donald Trump, and the border, there isn't any. And they've admitted that they don't know who's who. They just stopped some people they think were terrorists, but they're not going to report anything. They're going to keep it on the down low. Imagine that. Jimmy Kimmel did not ask Joe Biden about the border, which has been destroyed, and we don't know who's here. But if you ever even think about talking about it, oh, you are racist, when all of us just want all the immigrants you want to come in, but you got to come in legally. You got to do it the right way with some control because we don't know what's happening here. They are bankrupting cities. In New York City, their whole hotels are being taken over to put these people in, and the taxpayers paying for it. Jimmy Kimmel didn't ask Biden about that. Jimmy Kimmel didn't ask Biden about every day $7 billion is added to our debt as he grows the government like you wouldn't believe, unimaginable amounts. And now proposing, here's the amazing part, proposing to go into the wallets of Jimmy Kimmel, George Clooney, and Julia Roberts. If you are rich, you're the privileged few, and we're coming after you. We're going to do this and do that. George Clooney has a place in Italy because he don't want to pay the tax in California. Jimmy Kimmel didn't ask him about that. Grow the government 75% since the year before COVID, and now propose, I cannot believe the taxes he's proposing. So we got open borders, crime that he doesn't, and just so you know, it's not like Joe Biden can do something about a city's making a decision on crime, but he's got the bully pulpit. Do you ever hear him talking about crime? Freaking never. The open border, the crime, and yet they throw out statistics that crime's better. All crime is bad. And the debt and the deficits, we're at this point, 365 days in a year, last I looked. 6.5 to 7 billion is added to our debt every day. And Joe Biden could have done something about it. And what did he do? He supersized. And what is he going to do? He's going to supersize taxes and then lie about it. Jimmy Kimmel didn't talk about any of this, and I just had to bring this up because if they think they're going to sell ordinary people on Joe Biden because celebrities are standing next to him, up next, we'll put a bow tie on it. And the markets. This is the one only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to...
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge.
The last bastion of quality programming.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
Welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So I'm just letting you know, I'm thinking to myself, they were trying to market to me, oh my goodness, I'm going to meet George Clooney and Julia Roberts and Jimmy Kimmel. Think about that. People that are on private jets while they tell us we got to care about the climate. Living in 25,000 square foot homes. Well, we have to conserve. And by the way, God bless them. God bless them. I love success in any shape or form. But they're trying to sell ordinary Americans. Look at me, I'm a celebrity and I'm hanging out with Joe Biden, vote for me. And this guy is the worst president we have ever had. And think about who the last president was. And I say that. Gary, you're saying Donald. I didn't want to talk Trump today. We've ripped the stuffings out of him also. I just had to bring this up because I was able to see some video, and you should have seen them in orgasmic delight. I can say those words, right? Yeah, I can say that. On stage. And then Obama showed up. And, he was there too. Terrific. But I think they probably can sell him on, oh, I'm hanging with celebrities to a certain people. Doesn't impress me. Borders. Size of government, crime, F+ on all three for Biden. I didn't even mention Afghanistan, where the women are back into the dark ages. I don't hear the women's organization pissed off at Biden about now they're back in the dark ages in Afghanistan. Who cares about Afghanistan women, right? And not to mention his wishy-washy now on Israel. Oh, we're 100% for them. Oh, but. If there was a Republican nominee right now without the baggage of Trump, this would be a landslide. And vice versa, by the way. We move on. Let me just spend 3 more minutes. First off, on GameStop. Was down $3.50 today to $25.20. And this time, kind of important why it was down. They had an annual meeting, and I guess they did not impress anybody. And I have no idea what they said in the annual meeting, but we are a big believer in the reaction. And the stock got trashed again. I was asked, I don't know if I did this the other week, I was asked in an email if I ever met this roaring kitty, what I would say to him. I would call him an ass. And I would say he was a front runner. As he bought a crap load of stock and then he did his thing to attract the masses, and he did a hell of a job of it, may I state for the record. I think he's an ass. I'd say it to his face. So GameStop, and as we've stated to you, we're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. We're telling you that the precedent of these meme stocks is when the music stops, they all go back to where they came from, and don't be the last one in. We have no idea whether they can run it again or not. Next, I haven't brought it up a while, but I thought I'd bring it up today because somebody emailed me on it. The Donald Trump SPAC that got merged into, what is it called, Trump Media and Technology. We warned you when it was in the 60s. That's when we started yapping about it the day before, and then the next day is when we really started warning you about, would you take out a $20 bill and give it to me, and I give you back $1. So we're just letting you know it's gone from 79 to 34. I must state for the record, it dropped to 22, back up to 56, down to 42, up to 54, down to 34. I saw some clown today come out and say, oh, if Trump wins, Bitcoin's going to 150,000 and Trump this, whatever. Yeah, take a hike. We just want to let you know again. We're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. We are certainly not saying this for politics. It is purely valuation because this is the extreme of ridiculous valuation. We just want to make sure you know it because, as we say, when the music stops, there's almost 170, let's use 177, 177 million shares outstanding. It's got a $6 billion market cap. The company doesn't have $4 million in sales, and sales dropped the last 2 quarters 40%. And they're losing a ton of money. The stock closed at 34. Now, think about this, and here's an extreme thing. If the stock went from 34 to $1, it would still have a $177 million market cap with less than $4 million in sales and lose a ton of money, and sales are dropping. We're not saying it's going to $1, but we're just letting you know valuation. Valuation ultimately matters in the markets. We don't know when ultimately comes. We don't know when ultimately hits. We just know ultimately. And if you've been listening to us for a long while, we told you ultimately on Beyond Meat. We told you ultimately on Rivian. We told you ultimately on Peloton that, hey, what happens when we're out of COVID? We did the same thing with Stitch Fix, COVID thing. The marijuana stocks. We said to you, if everybody can sell marijuana, That was pretty simple. We said it to you on AMC, which amazingly people are still playing with even though it dropped down 99%. Stunning stuff. So we're just letting you know, just be careful. Don't get emotional because of politics or because somebody yapping on TV or somebody roaring kitty doing a live stream. I got news for you. He front-run this thing. He front-ran it. He bought a ton, had a ton, and then did his thing. This is not Robin Hood. Just make sure you know that. Up next, today, strong. We'll see. This is the one only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
Welcome once again to Investor's Edge. By the way, I'm not kidding. This guy who sat next to me, his forearm was like bigger than Earl Campbell's quads. Remember Earl Campbell? Houston Oiler running back. Anyway. Okay. So first off, what have we been complaining about on this show? Well, a narrow market. And basically the thought process is, man, all the money is going into a select area of the market, which is fine by us, we tell you, and guess what? We've owned those select areas. Yay. But we also worry that ultimately, that when you have narrow markets, what typically happens is that if the broad market worsens, eventually they get them all. But we also, for the record, say to you, hey, let's hope the broad market picks up. Coming into this week, it's been terrible. And what I mean by that is in relation to what's been strong. And today, you think you're coming into a 4-day week. By the way, Juneteenth is Wednesday. Go look up why we have Juneteenth. Very important holiday. We're thinking of maybe lazy, hazy, daisy days of the week, not much going on. And today didn't, start off so, fabulous. So we were down at one point today about 100 and something on the Dow. The NASDAQ wasn't so bad early. The NASDAQ at one point today was down a few. And all we can tell you from about 12:30 to 2 o'clock, wow. And when I mean wow, we're getting some what we call outlier movement. And what we mean by outlier, mega caps. Remember we told you Apple broke out 11-month range. Apple breaks out at around 200, goes to 220 in 2 days. Not normal for a mega cap that has 15 billion shares outstanding. And all we can tell you today, they were just ripping things to the upside in big cap land as the broad market finally had what we consider to be a decent day. Now, I don't know if that's going to change things or not, but definitely you had a little bit of a wake up today. And hopefully that continues because you really need what we call participation. And what we're watching most closely are those financials that have been under pressure. And they, throughout the day, got stronger, and we pulled back towards the close, but still finished up 188. The NASDAQ finished up 168. The NASDAQ at one time today was 17,935. That's 4080. Was up 250 at one time. The NASDAQ 100 was 19,900. Was up 310 approximately, and pulled back 242. But just really some moves that, wow, just very good moves in big caps. They finally had the small caps up today. It took them a while for that to happen, but they were up too. Where was the strength? Semiconductors. You know the names. The mega caps. Microsoft was up 6 today. At one time today, Microsoft was 8 and change. Apple was up 4 today. At one time today, Apple was up 6 and change. Qualcomm was up 7. Facebook, Meta, was down 8 on the open because the Surgeon General now says social media is problematic. Remember what's coming out of this government. Nicotine and cigarettes are bad, but we're going to legalize marijuana. But now he's telling us social media is not good. And by the way, for young people, he's saying, you know what I say? Let the parents decide. I know some parents that will not let their kids have social media till they're 16. I know parents that have kids in social media at 8. Let the parents decide. But no, the Surgeon General who says marijuana should be legal knows what the story is on social media now. And leave no doubt there are some ills of social media. There's some issues on social media. Hopefully they work themselves out, and hopefully you as a parent recognize that there is great things about social media and not so great things. Just my opinion. Meta was down 8, finished up 2.5. Was up 5 and change at one time, but that's the type of strength we're talking about. It was just a very good day. Booking Holdings up 90. Broadcom, that's that latest gap to the upside for a 10-for-1 split. They gapped it up again today. It was up $93, 5%. Dell looks like it may be pulling one of those defenses. Netflix up 7. Qualcomm up 7. Tesla, I'll be careful with my words on Tesla. Maybe set up for another stair step up off the bottom. Very weak stock in relation to everything. Maybe set up for a stair step up. Finish well, up 9 and change today. Volume patterns a little bit better. And then Lam Research up 35, KLAC up 24, Monolithic Power 20, ASML Holdings 24. It was one of those days. Amazingly. And for what could have been a lazy, hazy week, what can I tell you? You know what was down today at the close? NVIDIA was down 80 cents. But that's already had a big move and probably needs to rest a little. Excuse me, it finished up 40 cents. It's down a little in the aftermarket. So very strong day. I have hardly any complaints. Love the fact you had a better broad market day. By the way, Wingstop restaurant breaking out. Domino's Pizza almost. Chipotle was up 93. 50-for-1 stock split, which brings me to my next point. We haven't had to think about playing stock splits forever. It looks like stock split announcements are getting juiced. So we'll let you know if there are any others. NVIDIA with the stock split, juiced. Broadcom, the 10-for-1, juiced. Chipotle, 50 for one, juiced. Who's next beats the hell out of me. But typically it's the very high price names, and there's a lot of them. Just so you know, there never used to be $1,000 stocks. ASML, $1,000. Lam Research, $1,000. Monolithic Power, $800. Facebook, $500. Microsoft, $450. Unbelievable, the high prices. And remember what we told you, we don't want splits. They say, oh, it's good for retail. Go buy one share if it's too high price. But I don't run the joint. Tractor Supply looks like it may be breaking out here. You know, retail of tractors. Better action. Just good overall. Ross Stores coming up the right side. Burlington just gapped up. And by the way, there's even some good charts in Colgate and Kimberly-Clark and Procter & Gamble. So some of those. Just a very good day. By the way, the advanced declines weren't that great. But what was good was gooder. What was weak today? A lot of my crappy technology, not large cap screen. Up next, what else I got for you? Thanks for being here. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to...
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for putting up with us. I know when I start with the Biden and the Trump, but I got news for you, kids. This is an election, and I don't know how we got here, but we got one guy that still denies an election. And I mean, last week he lied on TV, blatant. Said he's never said lock her up. What? I'm always amazed somebody who will lie and their lie is on video. But that's besides the point. There's bigger fish to fry. The guy running the show right now should not have another 4 years. Based on simplicity, the border, and enough of their lies. You got Mayorkas on video when asked in the first few months of Biden's whatever, oh, we're rolling back all the Trump border immigration policies. The border, crime. And by the way, I don't blame Joe Biden when somebody goes in and steals. I don't blame Biden if somebody goes and robs a place and somebody's murdered. I blame Biden for not saying a frickin' word on crime. And there are a bunch of cities. Hey, I'm on in Portland. I know what's going on there. They finally got rid of the moron DA. I go to New York City now. I'm in New York City every week. I can't believe what's going on. Every stop on the Q train and the 6 train has cops on them now. Finally, the mayor figured it out. Hey, if you want to stop the crime on the subways, you know what the latest thing they're going to do? Good move, by the way. You can't wear masks on subways anymore. They haven't done it yet, but they're going to. Do you know why? Because all the Hamas lovers are wearing masks and threatening people. They won't dare take off their masks to show who they are, that they love terrorists that raped and murdered people, including babies put in ovens. They don't dare do that. So they're going to do some policy on masks. What irony, huh? So we're just going to keep covering it with no bias, no agenda, no ulterior motive. We'll stay right up front, we wish there were two others, but we're dealing with what we're dealing with. I've been asked who I think Trump is picking as the VP. My chalk is on Rubio from Florida. That's who I think he's going to pick. But I don't know, but that's who I think he's going to pick. And hopefully, we already know what Biden's going to do another 4 years, especially if he has the House and Senate. Massive taxes, massive government, rules, regulations, fees, fines, mandates, crap load of immigrants coming in. By the way, that he's trying to do a big amnesty in the next month to try and win votes. He's just a crappy politician. But I can't say that anymore because he won the last election. Anyway, I wish it was two other people, but we got binary. If Trump wins, I pray somebody gets a hold of him and becomes a president. You know what I mean when I say that, right? And then low taxes, regulations are fine but not onerous, strong on crime, strong on the border. What else do you need? No extracurricular activities. Strong on defense. Which, by the way, when you have an open border, you are not strong on defense. We'll keep covering it. But back on markets. And by the way, we get the question, boy, the market's strong. How is that with the things you talk about? Well, there's 160 million of us that go to work every day to do better for ourselves and families. You've got great medical advancements, technological advancements from our great companies. Magnificent adjusting of our great companies also to what they're doing. Just remember, the inflation came from our government. And now all these companies have to adjust for that. We're doing a great job. We're doing great. They're killing us. It's pretty simple. We're doing great. They abuse us. And in some areas, a lot worse. In Florida, we're not abused. In California, you're abused. You make too much at 14%. Gas, I get emails from people telling me they're paying $7 for gas in California. I pay $3 and change. Taxes. They total disrespect. We'll keep covering. Most important thing we're going to do going forward for you, we're going to tell you what's leading, what's lagging, what's coming on, what's going on by the wayside. Anything change, we'll let you know. And as always, it's your money, you decide. But also, we're going to try and protect when all things are swirling crazy around you, like these meme stocks. We had no idea that GameStop would be back at $25. No idea. Hit 65 3 weeks ago. But we warned you. And we warned you even here about the valuation. This stock came from $10. And their business has worsened since then. And if anything changes there, we'll let you know. So have a good evening. Drive carefully. What's tomorrow? Tuesday, yeah. We're here tomorrow. Wednesday, we're off. Have a good evening, and when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better, I promise. Stay well. Be well. And I'll tell you what, I'll take a few more days in the market like today. Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.